Hello and welcome to another Photoshop tutorial with PSD box. Today I want to show you how I made the Burning Wishes artwork, and the final result is this one. So I will close this, and this is the base stock image that I used. It's a free image from DeviantArt, so you can download it for free. And I will start by unlocking this layer. There are just a few stock images that I use, as you can see here, and I start with this one. I would usually use the pen tool to extract the woman from the background, but because I want to go a bit quicker now, I will use the magic wand tool. So I have the tolerance set to 10, and now I just press the shift key and click on these areas here to add them to the selection. And once I have everything selected, I will use the refine edge. So that's the rough selection. I still have an area here, and I will create a layer mask now, and I will invert it with Control I. I still have this area here which the magic wand kind of missed it, so I will use the hard edge brush, and I will bring that back using the brush tool. Okay, and now I will use the refine edge tool to make the edges a bit better. So I'll press Control and click the layer mask to load the edges of the woman. I will select a selection tool and now click this option, refine edge. So as you can see, I have some nasty edges here and I want to fix them as much as I can. That's why I prefer to use the pen tool instead of the magic wand. But anyways, so I will increase the feather to about 1.5 pixels, and I will increase the contrast like that, and I will shift the edges even more and increase feather, and I increase the contrast a bit more. And let's see, I still see some problems here, but it's pretty, the selection is pretty nice anyway. So I'll choose layer mask on the output and click OK. If you have a previous version of Photoshop, you might have some different options on the refine edge. I'm using Photoshop CS5, but I want to fix that area here, this one. So again I will use the layer mask and a white color, and that's it. I will also mask this part here, the legs, because I don't need that part. So I'll select a hard edge brush and I will mask this. You don't have to be too precise except here on the fingers, but and a cool trick to know if you deleted all the background is to add a stroke with a color that you can see better and increase the size. And you can see that I have some spots here which I didn't mask, so that's why I added that border so that I can see the spots that I missed. So now I can mask this once. Okay, and now I can delete this effect. And once you're happy with the selection, right click on the mask and choose apply layer mask. And now we are ready to start working on this. So I will create a new document. I will use, this is the original dimension that I used when I made the artwork, but because I'm recording the video, I'll use a smaller canvas. For now I'll click OK, and then I will go to image size and I will use 1000 for the width, and the height is automatically set. Okay, and now I will copy this and I will paste it here, and I will make it smaller, something like that. Okay, now I can close this, and let's take care of the background. I will choose the color ED and click OK, and I will fill the background with that color, and I will change the name of this layer of the woman to model, and I will have to apply some vignetting on the background, so I go to filter, lens correction, and go to the custom tab, and here have vignette, the vignetting options, and decrease the amount and also the midpoint a bit. I'm not really sure how I made it on the text tutorial, but anyways, something like that. Click OK. It's too hard on the edges, I don't like it. I will do it again. Okay, this is better. Okay, now I have the background ready. So I will create a layer mask for the model layer, and this is where you have to use those paint brushes that I provided on the text tutorial. I downloaded quite a few of them because I needed them for another artwork, so you can download any of the sets that you can find there. And I think I will use this one. Decrease the size and just remove some of the edges. Like that. And some parts of the woman's back as well. Be careful not to mask the hands though, so I'll reset the brushes. And I will fix this part. Okay. Now you can create a new layer under the model, and you can name this paint if you want, and again get another paintbrush and start painting with black. And just make some random strokes. Just make sure you use different brushes every time, because otherwise it will not look too good. You don't want to have things repeated, so avoid patterns. That's why it's good to have multiple brush sets. So as you can see, I'm not going to have the exact same result as on the text tutorial, but it's okay. I don't like that one. Let's use this messy spray paint pack. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, this one looks better. And let's try with this one as well. Okay, something like that. Okay, the next thing I did, actually on the text tutorial I did that before. I used the pen tool to create a sort of a glossy effect on the background, something like that. And I set the blend mode to soft light, and I reduced the opacity to about 40 or 50%. The opacity depends on how dark you have the background, because if you set this on 40 like I did on the text tutorial, it's almost invisible, so increase the opacity of it until you see that line visible. Okay, something like that. It's too strong. Okay. Next I use the line tool to create some lines on a 45-degree angle. And make sure you have the shape layer selected, not the paths, and use color black, and just press the shift key, and that way you can create 45-degree angles. And just draw some lines on different layers so that you can move them around if you want to, and just change the weight for every line that you make so that you have some variation. And I'll make another one at 2 pixels on a new layer, like that. So there are my lines there. Next I created some triangles using the polygonal lasso tool. So select this tool, make sure you have the color set to black, and create a new layer. This is really easy to do, just make some triangles. Click once, make the triangle, and if you want to close the selection, just double click and press Alt backspace to fill that selection, and then make a new one. Just make some sharp angle triangles, different sizes. Just make sure you follow that same direction when you place the triangles, so don't draw them here on the edges, just follow those lines, because you want to follow that same direction. It looks a bit better if you do it that way. So and now I'll create some triangles on the above the woman's layer. And that's just to create some depth, some okay, so that's it with the triangles. That's how you make them. And next I added that flying crow here, and again you can use any extraction method that you like. I would usually use the pen tool again, but for lack of time I will use the quick selection tool. I think it's called the quick selection, let me see. Yeah. So I will select the feathers here on the wing. So it's better to select one part at a time and let Photoshop make the calculations. Like that. And we're almost there. Okay. Okay, I will skip this once for now, but you can refine the selection and include this the tips of the wing if you want. Again, I will create a layer mask. Right click, apply layer mask, select all, copy, and close this. No longer needed. I thought I didn't copy it, so it's really, as you can see, it's a really big image. So make it smaller and then flip it horizontally, place it here and adjust the size again. Don't want to make it too small though, something like that. Okay, and here I repeated the same process as I did with the woman. So first I'll name this layer, create a layer mask for it, switch the foreground color to black, choose a paint or watercolor brush or whatever brush you have, and just mask the edges of the crow's body. Like that. Again, as you can see, I'm using different brushes every time, because otherwise you get this pattern here, which is not nice. So get a new brush, paint once, select a new brush, and stroke again, get a new one, and so on. And do that for the wings and also for the tail. Okay, I'm gonna move it slightly like that. And now create a new layer under the crow, and I name it crow paint. And here you can use the explosion brushes pack, which is this one, and just paint some destruction particles here under the crow like that. Or you can use the same splatter brushes that you used on the crow, and just paint some particles there, something like that. And what else? I also use the explosion brushes pack to add more particles here, and I don't remember which brush was exactly. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was this one, but I have to flip it. So flip the X, and it was not that one. It was this one. Just make it smaller. Like that, and then mask this part. So reset brushes and just mask the parts that you don't need. And then you have that effect there. I still have to mask this part here. So that's how I made those particles there. Then I used the stock image from this particles pack that I gave you. I gave you the link on the text tutorial, so you can download it. It's free. And this is the particles 23 image. Select all and paste that there. Just make it smaller and place it here. But as you can see, it has some color to it, so use hue saturation to desaturate this, and also reduce lightness to 0. And that way you get these particles here. Okay, something like that. The next thing I added to this is those 3D spheres, which you can download as well from my website, because I know many of you don't have the extended version of Photoshop, so you cannot create them. But I will show you how I made them in case you want to know. So I will create a new document, like 300 by 300, and I used guides to split the canvas and create a new guide, 50% horizontal, and then I made a checkerboard texture like that, and then I went to 3D from layer, and I chose sphere. You can make pyramids if you want, or rings, or whatever, or cones, or whatever you want, but I made a sphere, and that's how it looks. And then I used the rotate tool, and I rotate it around, and then I rasterized it and copied to the document. So that's how I made that sphere. So I'll close this, and I will use the same ones that I gave you. I placed one of them here on the bottom left, and the other one on the top right. I'll make them smaller though. By the way, you can select the layer of an object. For example, if I want to select the layer of the crow, you can use the move tool and press Ctrl and click on the crow, and you can see that the layer is selected automatically, or the woman, or these triangles here. Just hold down the Control key and click the object, and that will select the layer of that object. So these are the spheres. It's always good to rename your layers because you will find them easier. Then you can start adding light effects and colors. So you can create a new layer and call it low or light or whatever you want, and set the blend mode to screen. The screen mode works really well for this kind of artworks. So select the soft brush, increase the size, something like that, and choose a color that you like. Just make sure you choose a darker tone like that, and just click once. It's too dark, so I want it brighter, and click once there, then change the color, and you can use any color that you like. I don't even remember where I painted those colors, but anyways, you can paint them wherever you want. And once you have the colors, you can duplicate this layer and switch the blend mode to color dodge, and you can see that now the color is a lot more powerful, but reduce the opacity like that. And then I used my optical flares stock images to add more light effects. Again, this pack, I offer it for free on my website, so you can download it, and you can use any of these lens flares here. I think I used this one. Actually, I'll copy it here. Let's make it smaller and rotate it at 45 degrees. You can see it here. If you press the shift key, you can snap at, I think it snaps at 15 degrees, I'm not really sure. Or you can type here -45, and you get the 45-degree angle. Change the blend mode to screen. First, make sure you get rid of the credits, and this is just for people that don't give me credit, and just to redistribute my freebies without my permission. So I'll switch the blend mode to screen and place this wherever you want, and then you can use another one, for example this one. Switch to screen, make it smaller, and rotate it like that. You can also duplicate one of these layers with Ctrl J, place the lens flare somewhere else, and use hue saturation to change the color if you want, or reduce saturation to 0 and have a white light like that one there, and click OK. Next you can add those feathers, and again you can find the links to those stock images on my website. Just copy them, paste them here, just make it way small. Like that. And duplicate it. And the reason why I duplicate it is because I want to have one as backup, and make it even smaller, rotate it, and just place them randomly here. Duplicate again, make it smaller. Like that. Put this one here and this one here. Okay, it's not looking really good right now. Okay, now you can add some Gaussian blur to the bigger feathers, and you get that out of focus effect, which gives more depth to this. And some blur to this one as well. And okay, something like that. Let's get rid of that one. Okay, so something like that. So that's how I made the burning wishes manipulation. I hope you like it. And if you want to see more tutorials like this one, make sure you visit my channel or my website, psdbox.com, and there you'll find many other tutorials like this. I'll see you on the next tutorial.